This is Karis Alexander with Deep Truth Media. We have done the unthinkable, each of us. We have eaten from the tree of knowledge, the forbidden fruit, thereby causing each of us to forget our eternal state of nothingness as we fell into matter. It is the thinking process, thought, and the mind, which are not yours, but what cause you to forget your eternal state. When we look at the word consciousness, when you break the word down into its individuated components and you look up each component of the word consciousness, you get the quality and state of tricking and deceiving someone through knowledge. Therefore, consciousness is a modern-day reminder, subliminally, of our fall from grace. It is a this consciousness. Therefore, when we deconstruct consciousness, we in fact are engaging in the experiment of remembering who we really are. Now remember that as we connect the dots through the narratives and stories and scripts that are proliferating the theater stage of our physical world, we are really just scratching the surface of what is possible for you and I in our attempt to transcend this system of consciousness altogether. Yes, I am proposing that you transcend this whole system of consciousness and still be here with a full knowledge of that which you are, which is awareness, in your eternal state of nothingness, which is the ultimate reality. On the theme of horses, which has been playing out, going back as far as the Dark Knight Rises massacre in 2012, as far as I know, references to horses became prominent for me in 2013 Olympics. At the opening ceremonies, they had a horse pulling what looked like a sun. This is when I discovered the Dark Horse Nebulae in the Milky Way galaxy, which is very significant reference to the energy that is supporting the transmutation of humanity into the higher level species, whether we realize it or not. But we are talking about transcending all of it, as energy is simply a manipulation of your eternal state of nothingness. That being said, we want to remember who we are, and we want to learn to manipulate energy just as the power control force manipulate energy for their own purpose and means, so that we stop allowing ourselves to be manipulated by this system of consciousness, allowing us to create reality of our own choosing and making. Yes, I am proposing that we take matters into our own hands, and that we take back our power to create, as it is our eternal state that has created all of this anyway. It must no longer be left up to a few to control our eternal state and create a dystopian world. So on the theme of horses, the title of this sharing is Pluto, the God of Riches, ISIS airstrikes on the Equinox, Rothschild sponsor Ryder Cup, Aldebaran equals Taurus the cow, not the St. Louis Rams. Who are the archangels anyway? Pleiades, the center of the universe? I post this article in a description. The universe is in fact a single consciousness and simultaneously an ocean of limitless energy. And we must discover the secrets of harnessing this energy and make practical this unified field of consciousness. Here are some more connections I have made since my previous post on the Baroness of Wine, Philippine, which means horses, the Rothschild's death, that I wanted to share with you. Pluto went direct September 23rd, 2014 on the equinox in the sign of Sagittarius according to sidereal astrology. And shortly thereafter, the U.S. launched its guided missile cruiser USS named Philippine. Philippine, again, a reference to, Philippine the Rothschild? They launched a Tomahawk cruise missile as seen from the aircraft carrier USS George W.H. Bush. In the Arabian Gulf, states and Arab allies hit ISIS target. I want to tell you a little bit about Pluto because we live in a sea of myth and symbols, and it's through these symbols and myths that we can discern a little bit about what's going on and transpiring here in the physical world stage. Pluto's, usually romanized as Plutus, was the god of wealth in ancient Greek religion and myth. He was son of Demeter and the demigod Iason, sounds like Zion, with whom she lay in a thrice plowed field. In the theology of the Eleusinian mysteries, he was regarded as the divine child. His relation to the classical ruler of the underworld, Pluton, or Latin Pluto, that whom he is often conflated, is complex, as Pluto is also the god of riches. I guess a reference to those that rule the world. Pluto is a reference to those that rule the world, so this reference of Philippine, the cruiser that hit the ISIS jihadist on the Equinox when Pluto went direct, is a reference and reminder of who runs the world. Now remember, on August 23rd, exactly 1 month to the day of the ISIS airstrike, Philippine de Rothschild, the wine nobility, dies at 80 years of age of complications. Now in this picture, she is wearing her ram's horn. Philippine was also widely known for wearing her satanic jewelry, as many would like to think, but her ram is really from the pre-dynasty Egypt, Mehet Wert, celestial cow, goddess of water, creation, and rebirth. Bofuma is really meant to disguise the truth and is now our own modern-day ram, or the bull sign of the zodiac. Regardless, all of this is designed to cause distortion and confusion. I have some pictures in the post you can see there. This is how it is in real life and in myths of ancient nations that made cultural contributions to the modern zodiac to us today. Taurus, as the beginning sign, marked the vernal equinox from about 14,000 to 1700 BC, so we can see how truth is disguised and hidden by the power control force deliberately, and unfortunately most people believe what they are told and never really question whether they are being told the truth or not. That being said, on the day Baroness de Rothschild dies, it turns out on August 23rd, the St. Louis Rams quarterback Sam Bedford suffered a knee injury and was forced to exit Saturday's preseason game against the Cleveland Browns. Could it be that they changed the first sign of the zodiac to be Aries, the ram, because the power control force still used the ancient zodiac? And why all the focus on the constellation Taurus, the bull, where Aldebaran and the Pleiades are, or the seat of immortality, where paradise resides? It may be in the constellation Taurus. The pervasiveness of the Pleiades as the spiritual center or the seat of the universal led Wright in 1750 to propose that the Pleiades was the physical center of the universe. In 1846, this led to the suggestion by Medler that the whole universe revolved around Alcyon. Oh, and there are 9 stars in the Pleiades, not 7. There may be even more, but we don't see that as significant as well. I only say that because from the perspective and how I see it is that the Taurus, between Taurus and Gemini is the gate of man, and between Sagittarius and Scorpio is the gate of God. So how I'm seeing it is that this transfusion of energy into your soul blueprint when you take your first breath comes through the Pleiadian star system, and that is the etheric field, the visible light spectrum that you are able to experience. This physical dimension comes through the Pleiades, potentially. That's what I'm getting on an energetic level. Anyway, exactly to the date of August 23rd, 2014, NASA's New Horizon crossed the orbit of Neptune, and Philippine de Rothschild, wine nobility, she dies at the same time, just a day before the Northern California quake in Napa Valley, wine country of the USA. In my last post on Deep Truth Media, I talked about Philippine de Rothschild's death and the reference to the Napa Valley wine earthquake. You can check out that post. Poseidon, aka Neptune, whose weapon of choice is a trident, is the god of the sea. But as the earth shaker, the one who causes earthquakes, he's also called the tamer of horses. And if you remember my posts on the Dark Horse Nebula, where massive flows of dynamic energy is flowing to us from the galactic center that is supporting our species mutation. But as we are learning, that is not the only place these energies are coming from. Philippine de Rothschild, the Baroness of Wine's sudden death in Paris, France, on August 23rd, a day before the Napa Valley earthquake, as I mentioned in my last post, was celestially pinpointed by the sun's conjunction with Leo's brightest star, Regulus, also known as the Prince. August 23rd, it was the same day that Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie exchanged vows in their chateau south of France. They too are owners of a wine company. Interesting enough, it turns out that Poseidon Vineyard is a little less than a mile north of the quake's epicenter. That is, the Northern California earthquake is the area's strongest earthquake in 25 years that happened on August the 24th. Only a month after the Baroness's wine dies, Rothschilds decide to sponsor this year's Ryder Cup, the first time they've ever sponsored anything. The meaning of the name Ryder is one who rides. What? Horses, I gather. It turns out Julian, her youngest son, who is 43, of the Baroness Philippine de Rothschild, the matriarch of the wealthy family of winemakers who died last month at the age of 80, and cousins of the British investment banking strand of the family, whose prominent members include Jacob Rothschild, the fourth Baron Rothschild. Julian makes two statements in this article that stood out for me. We don't play golf, he says, and you know that if you don't make your brand live, it will one day disappear. I love that. Yes, the Rothschilds must now come out into mainstream and show themselves in order to keep their brand alive. That is the Rothschilds brand. But even the Rothschilds are a front. They are a front. There's other entities behind all of this, as I was talking to you about the Aldebaran link to David the Rothschild, my last YouTube sharing all these connections. Anyway, you can read the article there. Of all the celebrations seen in the aftermath of Europe's Ryder Cup victory at Gleneagles Hotel in Scotland on Sunday, no one appeared to enjoy the win more than Rory. He's the winner of the Ryder Cup. In a goofy and possibly Scotch-inspired moment, the Northern Irish golfer decided to embrace local Scottish cultures and throw on a tartan kilt to celebrate. McElroy posed as an Instagram picture of himself posing with Scottish golfer Stephen Gallagher, and in this picture the 25-year-old golfer wore one red kilt and one red wig with 0 shirts. The picture I posted in my article, I couldn't post the one which shows his kilt, but you can look at the article and see the one where it shows his kilt. For some reason it wasn't allowing me to save that picture to show you. It is important to note that Scotland is where Diana, William, Kate's baby, Stuart, the royal bloodline, originally ruled on the throne. Anyway, I found that this young guy, McElroy, looks like James Holmes. Remember the Dark Knight Rises massacre? The Dark Knight, another reference to what? Horses? I show the picture here of the red hair that James Holmes had. I think that the orange hair is a reference to the orange star, not Aldebaran, of course, and of course Aurora's. Aldebaran is often depicted as the fiery eye of Taurus, the bull, because it is bright and prominent. Aldebaran was honored as one of the royal stars in ancient Persia, the other 3 royal stars being Regulus and Taurus and Falhot. Aldebaran is often depicted as the fiery eye of Taurus, the bull, because it is bright and prominent. Aldebaran was honored as one of the 4 royal stars in ancient Persia, the other 3 royal stars being Regulus and Taurus, Falhot. These were also called archangels. The star Aldebaran was Michael, military commander of the heavenly host. The others were Gabriel, Falhot, watcher of the south, Raphael, Regulus, watcher of the north, and Uriel, and Taurus, watcher of the west. Here are your real ascended masters for all you New Agers to see how you're being played. Those are the archangels. They're stars. They're not ascended masters. Those are your ascended masters. The name Aldebaran is from the Arabic, the follower, presumably as a hunter following prey. Sounds like what's going on down here. We're being hunted by the follower. Aldebaran, or those who follow Aldebaran, that is the elite. On another note, I was wondering why the journalist whose head was supposedly being cut off were wearing orange of all colors. Here's James Foley. Did you wonder why he's wearing this color as well? Certainly a photo op for the power control force who shape your reality. Orange, that color, is the color of Aldebaran. So all we have to do is follow Pluto, or the money, or the bull, that we are being spoon-fed. Oh, I really mean the bull. You know, the bull on Wall Street, or Aldebaran in the eye of the bull. Either way, my all-seeing eyes watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Your comments that you are enjoying what I'm sharing here. It's very interesting stuff. It's, again, another perspective. We'll talk to you soon.